Harry's wife, the niece, another lie. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. You're all pretty familiar now with the fact that Harry's wife repeatedly tells lies. I've explained that as a mid-range narcissist, her lies are her truth. Many people find this extraordinary, that they are unable to comprehend. Not because they're stupid, it just almost beggars belief that somebody can come out with so many porky pies and not actually realise that that's what they are doing. But it is important to understand that this is a facet of the narcissism, and that the narcissism creates an alternative perception on the world. You have an understanding as to what you believe reality is, but that's your perception. What reinforces that is that you have a majority shared perception with other people. So when you talk about what might be outside of your window and say that it's a lawn and that it's these short little blades of grass, you and the person that you're talking about perceive those blades of grass in a similar way, so that if you were to independently draw them, you would come out with a drawing which would look pretty similar. That's because you and that person and many, many, many others have all evolved in a similar way so that you perceive grass to look that way. You perceive a tree, a car, and so on and so forth in a similar way. But it is quite simply a perception that your brain creates in order to allow you to make sense of the world around you. So take, for example, somebody that's a paranoid schizophrenic. They, for instance, often see things in patterns, in charts, in numbers that tell them something. They're not making this up. It is their honest and genuine belief, because their perception of that chart is interpreted by their brain in a way to provide an alternative significance. So, for instance, that they see in the registration plates of cars a secret code that tells them that President Biden is going to be assassinated. They don't sit there and think, I'm going to make this up for shits and giggles. They honestly believe it. In a similar way that an individual that has chromesthesia, they see sound as colour. They're not making it up and saying, oh yes, I see when HG speaks black and gold purely for the purposes of sounding important. They truly experience that because their perception of the world is different. And it's the same with the narcissist. What makes it difficult for people is the fact that the narcissist will describe a lawn in the way that you describe a lawn. That a narcissist can actually describe the behaviour of somebody else as way out of line in the way that you would do. But when it comes to their own interactions with other people, the narcissist sees the world through that narcissistic prism, that narcissistic lens, which is filtered through the issue of control. And when it comes to the interactions with another human being, those activities are either signalling that we have control over you, or that that control is being threatened in some shape or form. And as part of nullifying those threats to control or maintaining control over people, the narcissism will cause a narcissist to use, not all of the time, but much of the time, lies. It is not a lie to the unaware narcissist. They believe this to be their truth because the narcissism tells them as such. So, for example, if you took a bang on the head so that you now saw the colour yellow as green and never understood yellow to be anything different, your perception of yellow is it's now green. And if somebody was to try and persuade you to the contrary, you would think that they were mad. Why are you trying to tell me that that's yellow? I can see that it's green. I know that it's green. The sun's green. Bananas are green. Canaries are green. Why are you trying to tell me that this butter is something called yellow? It's not. I can see that it's a light green. That is your perception. And that's why the narcissist invariably feels like the victim, because you are trying to persuade the narcissist of your reality, which is different to that of the narcissist. The narcissist resides in an alternative reality some of the time when it comes to dealings with other human beings. And of course, we've seen this repeatedly with Harry's wife. She can't understand why people accuse her of being a liar, because in her world, she's telling the truth. She cannot understand why people think that she tells these porky pies. And accordingly, because if you say to her you're telling a lie when she knows that she's not. That must make you a horrible human being, and you're hating on her for no reason. And that's why she has such a large victim mentality. And of course, yet more lies have been detected as a consequence of the recent Netflix series. And this time it appertains to her niece. The Super Soaraway Sun, in an article by Matt Wilkerson, tells us, claims by Harry's wife that palace aides told her she should not invite her niece to her royal wedding were dismissed as complete lies tonight. She told Netflix viewers that Ashley Hale, the daughter of her half-sister Samantha Markle, was like a little sister to her. Flattery, assertion of control in a benign way. Ashley, of course, is painted white and is seen as under control and therefore not a problem. But she claimed, the article continues, Kensington Palace's press office told her Ms. Hale should not be among the guests. This is a lie, although she believes it to be true, and it's been done to smear Kensington Palace and those associated with it. However, sources said that her press team was desperate for Harry's wife to have more family and friends at the wedding. One said, it's a complete lie. Harry's wife said she didn't want her exposed to the media. Samantha had been hugely critical of Harry's wife in the run-up to the nuptials. And in the Netflix show, Harry's wife's claims that led to problems with the palace press office over the issue of inviting Ashley. She said, they just couldn't wrap their head around it, and I have compassion for it. How do we explain that this half-sister isn't invited to the wedding, but that the half-sister's daughter is? And so with Ashley, the guidance at the time was to not have her come to our wedding. I called her, and I had her on speakerphone, and we talked her through what guidance we were being given, and why this assessment was made, and that's painful. This, of course, is blame shifting and a revision of history. We all saw, of course, that the only member of Harry's wife's family that attended was her mother. Everybody else was excluded. Why? Because they'd served their purpose, and her narcissism regarded them basically as a threat to control. Why? Two fronts. One, they know what she's actually like, and therefore they might say something about that to other people, thus infecting their views of Harry's wife, and therefore undermining her control of other guests. Furthermore, it's a form of snobbery. She regards the members of the Markle clan as unsuitable. Her overweight, dishevelled father, notwithstanding the fact that he'd done so much for her, the rogue half-siblings, basically just seen as not the right type to have at a wedding, and that they would show her up. Of course, this amounts to a threat to control. The perception that they don't accord with the image that she's protecting, of course, as this fairy tale princess, means that they would threaten that need for control, and thus they are excluded, the narcissism determining that they should not attend. There's no compassion or emotional empathy for them. And of course, in order to justify all of this, her narcissism continues to cause her to spout lies in order to nullify the threat to control posed by the suggestion that she was told that her niece shouldn't attend. Of course, this is quickly rejected, and it makes sense that they would want her to have more family there rather than randoms such as the Clooneys, who she didn't know. And that the relevant press officers pointed out that once again she has come out with a lie. It's no surprise. And for those of you who think, well, why does she keep doing it? Surely she must recognise that she's going to get caught out. She doesn't. Here's why. Her narcissism causes her to focus on the moment. It's not thinking about yesterday. It's not thinking about tomorrow. It's not even thinking about 20 seconds in the future. It's thinking about right now. And in order to assert control or nullify a threat to control in the now, if that means telling a lie, so be it. The narcissism isn't bothered about whether it will be detected or proven or shown in some way that it's exposed. All it needs to do is achieve that control in the moment, and it does so. Then at a later juncture, when there is an unpicking of it to demonstrate that it actually was a lie, all the narcissism does is say, no, you're wrong, no, you're a hater, you're making things up, she's told the truth, why are you telling the lie, with a massive dose of projection. Those of you who have been involved with narcissists will have experienced this on a repeated basis. Accordingly, another lie comes out of the Netflix docu-series, providing me with another opportunity to explain to you why Harry's wife repeatedly lies and how she just simply doesn't see it. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.